The first ever UN International Day to combat Islamophobia was observed in the British Parliament on March 15, 2023. An important event was held in the British House of Commons under the supervision of Shadow Minister for Justice and Member of the British Parliament Afzal Khan. The Muslim Council of Britain and other social and welfare organisations, including students and members of the British Parliament, were present on this auspicious occasion. The Father of the House of Commons of the United Kingdom, Sir Peter Bottomley, the Deputy Leader of the Labour Party of the United Kingdom, Angela Rayner, Member of the House of Lords, Qurban Hussain, members of the British Parliament, Sam Tarry, Kirsten Oswald, Andrew Gwynn, Sarah Owen, Tanmanjeet Singh Desi, Deirdre Brock, Rachel Hopkins, Paul Bristow, Stuart MacDonald, and many others conveyed special messages. The keynote speakers expressed their views and stated that all the communities have a joint role to play to combat Islamophobia. Hatred and contempt for any person on the basis of his religion, colour, or caste are intolerable. They went on further to say that we have to raise our voices together against Islamophobia to end terrorism, extremism, hatred, prejudice, and injustice in the world. SM Irfan Tahir, World News London.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Angela Rayner and I'm the Deputy Leader of the UK Labour Party, and I'm really pleased to be here in Parliament today in Westminster to celebrate the International Day Against Islamophobia. And I think it's incredibly important and timely that we are able to be here today to not only tackle Islamophobia but also talk about how faiths around the world come together to talk about peace, talk about looking after our communities, and to celebrate our faiths and to ensure that nobody is discriminated against. So I'm really pleased to be here to support this event today and hope that we have these events like this for years to come, and that we can all renew our efforts to make sure that we stamp out racism, discrimination and Islamophobia from all parts of the world.
I'm Afzal Khan, Member of Parliament for Manchester Gorton and a Shadow Justice Minister. I would just want to say this, that I'm delighted that today in Mother of all Parliaments we were able to mark the first global event which is taking place, that is the UN International Day to Combat Islamophobia. So this is happening everywhere, and I thought it was appropriate that it also happens in Mother of all Parliaments. What has been also good is that we've had a cross-party participation here from the front bench as well, Shadow Deputy Leader of the Labour Party as well, and of course the Speaker of the Parliament also joined in this campaign. We also had the Father of the House also joining in. So cross-party, senior people here as well who joined in. And the message is loud and clear that the Islamophobia has been around for a while, is getting worse, and it is the responsibility of every one of us to work together to combat this. We know in Britain the highest number of discrimination and religious hate crimes are committed against the Muslim community, and that is year after year this happens. So there is a responsibility on the government not to close their eyes, but to tackle this problem. And this is also one of the reasons I think we held it here in Parliament on this very special day, to get this message there loud and clear that we need to tackle this problem.
I'm Kirsten Oswald. I'm the SNP MP for East Renfrewshire, and I'm the SNP spokesperson here in Westminster for Women and Equalities. And I really love seeing events like this happening at Westminster. It's so important that we stand up and stand against Islamophobia in any way that it presents itself. So it's been really reassuring and helpful, I think, to see so many people want to come together to make that statement a reality, that we absolutely won't stand for Islamophobia in any way. And I think it's very important that members of Parliament are very clear about that. There is no place at all in our society for that kind of behaviour. I think it's more important than ever that we're very clear about that, and I very much welcome the opportunity to have some constructive discussions today with colleagues and visitors about how we make sure that this becomes a reality, that there is no place for Islamophobia.
I'm Qurban Hussain, a Liberal Democrat peer in the House of Lords. Islamophobia is on rise throughout the world, and particularly in some countries, including India, Burma, and some of the Western countries. And the world has to wake up to it. There is a genocide in making, according to the Genocide Watch. In India, Muslims are being targeted, and there are drawing parallels with what had happened in Rohingya in Burma many years ago. or what happened in Rwanda all those years ago. So the world has to wake up before that catastrophe happens and the genocide actually takes place. And we need to stop Islamophobia throughout the world. Just as the world is aware of anti-Semitic rise, I think the world ought to be aware of Islamophobia as well.
My name is Zara Mohammed and I am the Secretary General of the Muslim Council Britain. Today we are at the Houses of Parliament marking the first inaugural UN Day to combat Islamophobia. It's been 4 years since the Christchurch attack in New Zealand, in which a far-right terrorist attacked mosques and Muslim communities. And rightly so, this day was inaugurated to mark the global phenomenon that is Islamophobia and the work that we need to do globally to tackle it. So today we've brought parliamentarians, ambassadors, civil society, young people and organisations to say, what can we do together? How can we overcome it? We know Islamophobia impacts women, young people, in the education system, our ability to get jobs and employment, but most importantly, look all over the world, what's happening in Kashmir, what's happening to Muslim minorities in India and China and all over the world. And so Islamophobia isn't just local, it is a global issue and we all have to tackle it together. So we hope today to make sure that our Parliament here in the UK recognises the importance of this day, but also is a commitment to action, whether that's the adoption of a definition, more security for mosques, more awareness about what is Islam and who are Muslims, but also we have to challenge the far-right terror threat, the media and politics that stigmatizes Muslims, and of course we have to come together, just like Islam says to us, come together, spread the message of Islam and share with people who we really are away from those negative headlines.
Salam, my name's Councillor Hamza Tozal and I'm the Lord Mayor of Westminster. We're here celebrating and acknowledging the UN National Day to combat Islamophobia. It's a day that's very close to my heart, being the first Muslim Lord Mayor of the city of Westminster. And I think to have events like these, to have commemorations, to be able to remember what we've been through is a huge achievement, and I hopefully look forward to many years of future generations not having to combat Islamophobia the way we have in the past, but it does look like a positive future and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
I'm Rachel Hopkins, Member of Parliament for Luton South, and I'm really pleased to be here on International Awareness Day to tackle Islamophobia. We must all stand united against all forms of discrimination and racism, and I'm pleased that today we have cross-party support for tackling Islamophobia, and we will continue to do so.
I'm Paul Bristow, Member of Parliament for Peterborough and the co-chair of the all-party parliamentary group on British Muslims. Well, this is a really important day to really strike out against Islamophobia, not only here in the UK, but across the world as well. In Peterborough, my city, we have many thousands of Muslims who make a tremendous contribution to our civic and to our economic life. Peterborough wouldn't be Peterborough without the contribution of the Muslim community, and it makes me incredibly proud to represent so many wonderful people in the heart of my city. But it's not just about making sure that we combat Islamophobia here in the UK and that we value the contribution of Muslims in our own country. It's also about making sure we recognise that Islamophobia sadly exists across the world. We're seeing genocide and persecution of the Rohingya in Myanmar. We're seeing the same of the Uyghur population in China. And of course the conflict in Indian-occupied Kashmir continues with human rights abuses. This is not okay. This is international Islamophobia, and we need to stand against that. And that's why this day is so important. And in my role, very small role, but important role as the chair of the all-party parliamentary group on British Muslims and as a Member of Parliament, I will remember that each and every day and continue to make that call here at Westminster.
Hello, I'm Sarah Owen, the Labour MP for Luton North, and it is such an honour to be here today, and I am so glad to see a room full and more people coming in to mark the UN Day against Islamophobia. And one of the things that we've been working on time and time again and really pushing the government on, and today would have been a really good day for this government to accept the cross-party definition on Islamophobia. It is so important to be able to tackle Islamophobia, but in order to do that, we need to start with an agreed definition so that no matter where you are in the country, no matter what institution, no matter what age, no matter what background, everybody's treated the same and there is the same standard from us to be able to fight the scourge of Islamophobia.
Andrew Gwynn, Labour Member of Parliament for Denton and Reddish. And I'm really pleased to be here in Parliament today to support colleagues and organisations in the fight against Islamophobia. Islamophobia cannot be tolerated. Islam is a peaceful religion. It shares so much in common with the other Abrahamic religions, including my own faith of Christianity. I don't accept the differences should matter to people and to society. I believe that we need to learn from each other, to understand each other and to love each other. And that's why I want to see a UN Day against Islamophobia, not just to tackle it here in the United Kingdom, but to tackle it across the whole of the globe, so that we are, at the end of the day, one human race.
I'm Deirdre Brock. I'm MP for Edinburgh North and Leith up in Scotland, and I'm really pleased to be here to celebrate the UN International Day of Combating Islamophobia, because it is something it's so important for us to become more aware of globally, but certainly particularly in the UK. I think at a time when some of the rhetoric around migration is extremely unfortunate from some political figures and in public discourse, I think it's more important than ever to have a day where that issue is highlighted and that we send a message to all those of the Islamic faith that they are welcome and that we reject utterly Islamophobia. I think it's a really important message to send out, and I'm really pleased to be here to help highlight it.
My name is Sam Tarry. I'm Member of Parliament for Ilford South. I have a really large Muslim community, making up at least maybe as much as 40 to 45% of my entire constituency. So I spend a lot of my time campaigning and working alongside the Muslim community, tackling issues of Islamophobia, issues that are impacting my community, whether it be concerns around prevent, whether it's having conversations about what's happening in our educational establishments, but also the day-to-day reality that many Muslims feel rightly that they are being discriminated against in many areas of life, and this is something that we need to stamp out, we need to act upon. And so today, with the MCB and many other MPs who represent large Muslim communities, we are here to celebrate, the contribution that British Muslims make to our country and have been doing for such a long time, and marking, importantly, the International Day of standing against Islamophobia. One of my most proud moments in my life, well before I became an MP, was running the campaign in East London, in Barking Dagenham, to get rid of the very racist British National Party. And I was proud then that that was really about taking on a party that was Islamophobic to its core and bringing together communities that done that work, that drove out that scourge. Really was a real triumph. And I feel that coming from a community where we're so proud of our diversity, whether there are issues happening in many different parts of the world, our Muslim community are always amongst the first to raise money, to do charitable events, to highlight issues where people are struggling from war or famine or floods in many parts of the world. And it's my absolute pleasure to work alongside them. But it's also beholden on me as their elected representative to challenge at every twist and turn Islamophobia, whether it's stuff that the government are doing, whether it's stuff that's happening in our local community, and to make sure that we don't just have a tolerant local community in Ilford and a tolerant country. Actually, we have one where the contribution that Islam brings to our country is genuinely celebrated and recognised for the positive contribution it does, whether that's people that have been in this country for many generations, or whether it's the very latest generation who are proud, and rightly so, to be young British Muslims, often achieving so much, but often doing that, unfortunately, in the face of real adversity. We don't want that to be the case anymore, and so that's why today we're standing firm and saying we have to stamp out Islamophobia, and we're doing all we can here in Parliament to make sure that is the case.
Well, it's great to be here on this day for the International Day to Combat Islamophobia. I'm very glad that my good friend Afzal Khan has organised this event in consultation with the Muslim Council for Britain, Amnesty International and various other stakeholders. I think it's very important that in order to build community cohesion, to have that integration, that we need to work together to combat hatred and hate crime. It's only through the language of love, through bringing communities together, that we can do that. And we know that here within the UK, the level of hate crime, especially towards the Muslim community, is at inappropriate, exceedingly high levels, and that is what something that we need to work together to combat. And that is why I have raised the issue of Islamophobia, not just within Slough, but also in Parliament as well as on other stages, because even if it is people in positions of power who are spouting language of hatred, then we need to call them out and work to bring the whole of the community together. Well done to everybody involved in this International Day to Combat Islamophobia, and I look forward to continue serving the good people of Slough as well as working with like-minded colleagues to combat racism and hatred.
My name's Stuart MacDonald. I'm an SNP MP for Cumbernauld, Kilsyth and Kirkintilloch East. Really pleased to be here to mark International Day for Action to Tackle Islamophobia. It's a day in which I think we should celebrate the contribution of Muslim communities up and down the country. Very proud of the contribution that the mosque in Cumbernauld makes to Cumbernauld and its people. And what we're saying today is we are united in standing up against the Islamophobes, and we are going to work as hard as we can to tackle prejudice and discrimination that far too many still face. So this is a good day to come together, say that message loud and clear, and take action in the weeks and months ahead to make it a reality.
Hello, my name is Mina Al-Katab. I'm a student at King's College studying international relations. It's amazing to be here today to see the support for the Muslim British community. It's an honor to be here, and I can't thank all the MPs and people that work for the Muslim community here for being here today.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Abdul Sheikh, a final year physics student from King's College London. Today we've done a lot of good work in discussing and tackling Islamophobia. We've had multiple MPs and multiple representatives from different organisations who've spoken here. I believe that Islamophobia is not just a problem for Muslims, it's a problem for people all across the globe, and it's an obligation amongst us as individuals, as human beings, to get involved in this kind of work to tackle Islamophobia, and I hope that we will be able to do so. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Faris. I'm a first year politics and international relations student at SOAS. I was invited to this event earlier today to mark, as was already mentioned, the inaugural day for the Islamophobia Awareness Week as designated by the United Nations. It is quite unfortunate that with Islam being one of the largest religions in the world and quite a predominant religion, that we have to face such masses of Islamophobia, not only in the United Kingdom but across the entire world, to get to the point where the United Nations has to designate a specific day in which the world has to unite together, parliamentarians, MPs, various other representatives, as we have been gathered here today in the House of Commons, to show our disapproval with Islamophobia around the world, and to show that we care about the Muslims who not only live in the United Kingdom but who are facing oppression in other places in the world.